everybody, I'm TomVasel. Welcome to Look Back, where I take a look at videos that I reviewed 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and 1 year ago. And I tell you what I think about them now, well, if I think about them at all. So let's go back 20 years ago. I had just a few games here. Castle Danger. This was a little two-player game from GameCrafter. 20 years ago, I guess I played games from GameCrafter. Matt Warden. It was okay. A little bit of back and forth stuff. 6 out of 10. Sunda to Sahul. Wow, I remember this game distinctly because it's a game in which you are building a puzzle with puzzle pieces. That's very unique. The game itself just misses the mark. It's just such a neat concept. It just didn't work out as much as I wanted to do. Still interesting, 6.5. Kahuna. This is from the Cosmos 2-player line. A nice back and forth controlling islands. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it a 7.5, but I give Kanaloa an 8. This is basically the same game, but it can go more than 2 players. This one most people haven't even heard of. Did not get as wide of a release. It's probably best with 2, but I thought the 4-player version was nice, and I liked having both in the same box. 10 years ago. All right, well, don't jump on me here. Terra Mystica I gave a 5. I know. Everyone loves Terra Mystica. It's a very popular game. This one just wasn't for me. There's a lot of things I didn't like. I didn't like the magic system. I didn't like the just obliqueness of the theme. It just is not a game for me. I did not really enjoy almost anything about it. Salmon Run. This is a deck building game, but it's okay at best. 6 out of 10. Mush Mush Snowtails 2. Now, I know some people are very excited about Snowtails. I am less thrilled with it. I think it's fine. I think the original version is better than this version probably. So this one just gets a 6 out of 10. Super Fight. This game's very popular, and I sold probably more than every other game we're talking about today. It's just basically I'm fighting you, and you play cards. It's a little Cards Against Humanity-esque. It's not as filthy as Cards Against Humanity, but it's basically that kind of thing. It's just silliness, and there's all different packs. If you like that sort of thing, it's fine. 6 out of 10. Amerigo. This was widely hailed when it came out from Stefan Feld. A 6.5 is all I gave it, though. It has a cube tower, which I like. But other than that, there wasn't a lot in this game I thought was particularly like, woo! There's some interesting ideas to it, but it just missed the mark for me. Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. I also like this game, this cooperative type game going through, but again, just not quite where I want it to be, 6.5. Hollywood. This is from Hobby World. This is a game about Hollywood from, at that point, the Russian company making a game about Hollywood, kind of silly fun. It was just a silly little card game, but I enjoyed it. 7 out of 10. Kings and Assassins. This is an interesting back and forth game where one person's trying to assassinate the other person with their assassins. And I like that back and forth asymmetrical nature. 7.5. Eldritch Horror. 10 years ago now. My initial rating of this was high. I actually don't remember what my initial rating was. My rating of it of an 8 is there. I remember at the time it came out, I was like, this is basically Arkham Horror, but better. Hopefully they don't make too many expansions for it, and then they made more expansions for it. It's good. It's neat. I like the whole world aspect of Eldritch Horror as opposed to like just the concentrated area. But yeah, it's pretty long and I think I'm looking for more streamlined games these days, but I get why people like it. 8 out of 10. And then Battlelore 2nd edition. The first edition of Battlelore came out to such huge heralding trumpets, and everyone was very excited about it. This one, not quite as much so, but it was a much better version than the first one. The fact you could use monsters on board is in my top 100 games of all time. I really enjoy this one. 9 out of 10. All right, 5 years ago, I played 7th Guess, the board game. This game is so terrible. I mean, it's almost so bad it's good, but it's not good. 1 out of 10. Oh my word. And I like 7th Guess, the video game, but not this board game. Marvel Strike Teams. Man, I wanted to enjoy this one. The idea of having bunch of Marvel teams fighting each other. There's a lot of Marvel games out these days. Have you ever heard of this one? No, because it's not that good. 5 out of 10. Rise to Nobility. This is from Final Frontier. I thought I would enjoy this one more, but it's just not there. 5 out of 10. There's just not enough things to do, I think. The Estates. Now this one, enough people liked it that it got reprinted. This one is a very love or hate type game, and I'm kind of on the hate side of it. A 5 out of 10. Because it's an auction style game, but you can get kind of cut out of the game. And I don't know if I like that. Find Sand, or not Find, I wrote Find Sand here in my document. It's fine sand. This is from Friedman Freeze. This is sort of a deck building game. It's another experimental game from Friedman Freeze. And I'm telling you, when he makes experimental games, they're either going to hit or they're going to miss. This one for me is a miss. The idea of cards moving around between the players is interesting, sort of, but the gameplay itself was not. Spiky Dastards. So this one I loved when it first came out. I guess a 7 isn't love, but I liked it a lot. And I love the idea of this whole grab something, but they were sharp and they could hurt you. And so I gave it a 7. But I'm telling you, I'm dropping it to a 6. And I'm docking it a couple points because in the 5 years prior, I've seen too much almost injuries from the game. And the packaging is abysmal. I cannot, recommend it really for either of those reasons. It's a funny concept. But it's also one of those ones, I know it's only been 5 years. I'm like, I feel like I've grown up from this maybe. I don't know. Outback. It's a Yahtzee style game. Not much else to talk about it. Big giant one. 6 out of 10. Ganymede. This is from designer Hope Huang from Sorry We Are French Company. And again, it's an interesting game. There's a lot of cool concepts, a nice graphical style to it, but it left me feeling a little cold. 6 out of 10. Manitoba. A worker placement game where you're planning constantly for the future. 7 out of 10. Subatomic, an atom building game. It's a deck building game from Genius Games. It's very simple, very straightforward, but I like it. 7 out of 10. Cusco. This is not the new Cusco from Queen Games. This is a renaming. There's a lot of renaming here. This Cusco is a renaming of an older game called Java from Kramer and Kiesling. And this one is a good game, very good game, of tile laying. The only reason it gets a 7 instead of a higher score for me is because the analysis prowess in this game can be huge because you have literally so many options. Think of it like a Go board of options. But it is a deep game if you want to get into it. New Frontiers. This one's about to have an expansion. This is the board game version of Race for the Galaxy, or a space version of Puerto Rico. It's probably a closer way to it. It's not as good as Puerto Rico. It actually takes out some of the tightness of Puerto Rico and makes it a little easier and looser to play, which I think hurts it slightly, but it's still a very, very good game. 8 out of 10. The Boldest. I really like this card looking through stuff from Sophia Wagner, who really underrated game designer, but just the theming of it's cool. It's a really neat game. I have it in the Dice Tower library. People you should check this one out. 8 out of 10. And Wingspan. Wingspan, I say this, I still haven't played Wormspan if you're watching this at this point in time, but I think Wingspan has just consistently shown itself to be a very good game. I still really enjoy it, so I've upped it to a 9. Last year I reviewed Wheels and Doors, or Wheels versus Doors, because there was that, internet meme for a moment, but that's what it is. You're trying to guess which there's more of something of. It's good for questions. The game itself is 6.5. Connected Clues. This is the before and after, like Caesar salad dressing. That's probably not the best one. Caesar, salad, I don't know. Anyway, you put 2 different phrases together like that. That's the whole game. It works. 7 out of 10. Chicken versus hot dog. This game does not look like I'm about to give it a 7, but I am. You have to go watch the review. It's really stupid, but I like it. Tatsu. A very weird esoteric trick-taking game. It's a 7 for me, but I would only recommend it if you really like trick-taking games because there's a lot of weird things going on in it. Habitats. This is from All Play. I like the original Habitats when it came out, but this version, much more beautiful game. It's fun driving your Jeep around trying to take pictures of animals. It's a nice, good game. 7.5. Flashback Zombie Kids. Great kids game where it's like a Where's Waldo type game. As you're looking for things and then you look and you see they're looking in that direction, but then you go back and play through again with more information. Really nicely done. 8.5. Rebuilding Seattle. This one did not get as much buzz from WizKids, probably because it's not a very exciting sounding game. But I like it. It looks big and grandiose, but it's a fairly tight game in which you determine when the game ends kind of as a group, and so there's a little bit of push and pull there. I like a lot of the choice in this one, 8.5. And then Dominion Plunder, which might not be my favorite expansion, but it's definitely in the top 2. Prosperity being the other one. This is more Prosperity. Prosperity Part 2. Terrible cover, though. But the rest of it's great. 10 out of 10. Well, there you go, folks. Those are the games that I reviewed 1, 5, 10, and 20 years ago. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.